odor judge, pet food taster, professional mermaid. Professional mermaid. Hello, darlings. So today I am going to be working on my embroidery project that I mentioned in the last video, and I am going to be telling you about something that apparently y'all are very, very interested in. We're going to talk about creative careers that you probably don't know are a thing. So for my business, I write articles and blog posts and all of that sort of thing about creative careers, how to find one, how to succeed in one, how to change them, all of that. And without fail, every single time I post about, creative careers that you don't know are a thing, it's always my most popular content. And I figured while I need to sit and get this project done, I might as well share that with you all in case you're interested in a creative career, creativity as something that you can actually do for a living, things along those lines. So we're going to talk about that today, and if you want any help kind of with those careers, finding them, learning how to do them, all of that sort of thing, I am at your disposal. So please comment below, ask the questions, let me know what you want to know. All right, the project. The first creative career that you might not have heard of that is tied in with tech, really, it's a digital anthropologist. Digital anthropologists study how humans, people, all of us, interact with technology and digital environments, which I find absolutely fascinating. So they observe online communities, digital behaviors, tech adaptations, and really it's to help companies understand, how customers, consumers, users use the things and helps them design more intuitive products. It's really fascinating. It's an offshoot of sort of, UX design, UX research, but I find that really, really interesting. So you can have a background in anthropology, sociology, UX research, and, you can make, well into three figures and work for tech companies, research institutions, and design firms, which I think is pretty interesting. It's really cool. This falls in line with industrial design, which I don't think a lot of people think about. Industrial design means you actually design not just physical products. Like think of your favorite water bottle, right? Like someone had to design that. But they can also design tests, experiences, all sorts of things that you just genuinely don't think about. And the schooling for that, you can go to traditional design school, you can get a degree in sociology, you don't necessarily need a degree. Industrial design is such a wide-ranging field that, no matter what you're interested in terms of creativity, there's a way to engage in it in industrial design. Again, industrial is just sort of the term of the field. It doesn't mean that you're going to be designing large machinery, although someone out there is doing that, and if that's your thing, very cool. Next, we've got a virtual reality experience designer. Okay, so there's experience designers, which are people who, very self-explanatory, you design experiences. So think anything from large-scale, celebrity events down to things like gardens, like community gardens. Anything that can be considered an experience that someone's going to engage in. There's people who actively design that. There's also the field of experiential marketing, which is you design experiences around products. So think, kind of product pop-ups, that sort of thing, but they can be much larger scale as well. They can also be much smaller. It's a really fascinating field. So a virtual reality experience designer goes into everything from video game design, healthcare, corporate training, anything where you can create, that experience in a virtual setting, which, as you've all seen recently, is becoming more and more common, right? So you can use 3D modeling, storytelling, actual design, like hard and fast design. That's really, really on the kind of edge of technology, VR, AI, all of that stuff is getting tied in together. And it is a really interesting emerging field. let's see, sustainability analytics specialist. So this is folks who are looking to find creative ways to reduce waste, to allow companies to, offset their carbon footprint, diminish their environmental impact. And it is a creative field in that there has to be some forward thinking. You have to create initiatives that people are willing to engage in. It's really an interesting space, and obviously a much needed space. Next one is art therapist. I'm sure a lot of you have heard of art therapy, or maybe you've even engaged in it. But being an art therapist is a career you can get into. It really combines psychology and creative expression, and it allows you to work with whatever sort of population you're really attracted to working with. So if you like working with children and you like doing art and psychology is your bag, you could be a children's art therapist. You can work with, the geriatric community. You can work with trauma victims, anybody that you're really interested in working with. It does require a master's degree in art therapy. It's a real degree, which I think people are surprised by, but it is a truly helpful field out there. And I think the people that are, you don't have to be good at art in the, capital G sense, but you do need to understand people, and you need to understand how art can help people. So that's where the psychology degree comes in. Does it make a ton of money? No. In terms of, being a psychologist, it is on the lower sort of average pay scale, but, maybe that means you make it part of your practice. It is such a needed field, and I think one that is truly growing. So I think if you're remotely interested in creativity and in people and in helping people, I think art therapy could be a really interesting space to look into. So another one that I find really interesting is the learning ecosystem designer. Education is changing, especially with the emergence of sort of our latest technologies. So looking past traditional classroom models is really important right now, and learning ecosystem designers do just that. They design the whole learning system, not just a lesson plan for a single class in a single space. So it combines physical spaces, digital tools, and experiential activities. And they do work with schools, they work with companies, they work with organizations, they work with sort of educational tech companies, all of that. And it's really about designing integrated learning spaces so that people can learn their best. Truly an emerging field. Salary is all over the place, because whether you're, if you're working for a small rural school system versus, maybe a large tech company, it's going to be different. But it is an interesting new field. And if you're interested in kind of paving a pathway into a new career that is really creative, I think that could be one for you. So here's one. I think if you are creative and love the outdoors and truly care about our climate, it is called a rewilding specialist. And it's what rewilding specialists do. Hang on, I need to focus for a second. It's about returning ecosystems to their natural state, because as humans, we've managed to destroy lots and lots of the ecosystems out there, right? So this is about returning them to their natural state, given the constraints that we as humans have put on them. So they develop and implement plans to reintroduce native species, restore natural processes, and create self-sustaining ecosystems. I mean, you can collaborate with landowners, government agencies, conservation organizations on projects ranging from urban green corridors to large-scale wilderness reconstruction. Which, again, if you can think creatively and you love the outdoors and you care about our climate, I could not think of a better role for you. Again, salary very widely ranging, depending on where you're doing this, but you can absolutely work to heal damaged ecosystems, and I can't think of few nobler causes than that, because everything is tied into how our ecosystem is thriving, right? If you're getting into food systems, educational systems, creative systems, it all depends on us having a climate to live within, right? Obviously, a background in biodiversity in the sciences is really going to help you here. So that's something to think about if you're thinking about going back to school. So while yes, there are lots of these really intense scientific, psychological, design-based backgrounds that you can use your creative abilities to get into and enact big change and do really interesting things, there are also just really fun creative, unique jobs that you can do that don't require a lot of education, are just absolutely unique and absolutely creative. And some of my favorites are professional cuddler. You can actually get paid to cuddle people as a therapy. Is also a guy who he runs a cow cuddling farm. Same thing. Instead of him doing the cuddling, though, you pay him and you go cuddle his cows. Greeting card writer, greeting card illustrator. Believe it or not, people still hire artists to design, Hallmark greeting cards and cards for small letter presses. How fun is that? But yeah, someone's got to write them, someone's got to illustrate them. That is a job that exists out there in the world. Water slide tester. Obviously, we're getting into the weird and wonderful here, but I mean, someone gets paid to test water slides. That is a job that exists in the world. Another one that I found randomly, not on my handy list here, but there is people out there who are professional miniaturists. Like is this guy who is a world record holding professional miniaturist, and like he carves tiny grains of rice into things, or things into tiny grains of rice, and makes a lot of money as a world famous miniaturist. Dog transporter. This is on the unique rather than creative, although I suppose you could get creative with it. You get paid to transport other people's animals. People whose dogs can't fly, they don't want their dogs to fly, or they've got an exotic pet that can't be on planes, or they've purchased a puppy from somewhere and they need it to get it to them. People get paid to pick up these animals and get them to their destination, which if you are an animal lover, how amazing would that be? Your job is to, drive cross country with a husky that's singing along to the radio with you. Ice cream flavor creator. There are food scientists out there who get paid to create flavors and foods and textures and food experiences, all that sort of goodness. So talk about a unique job, right? You get to create flavors of foods that you could soon see on supermarket shelves. I mean, that would just be so fun. That's a dream job. I mean, for me, that's a dream job. That's a dream job for lots of folks out there. Professional whistler. I I know you might not believe me, but there are folks who get paid to whistle on music tracks, on film and TV soundtracks. This goes hand in hand with Foley artist. That is absolutely a thing. A person who makes the sounds that you hear in films and TV and songs and all of that sort of thing. But yeah, professional whistler. Now, professional sleeper. There are people who test mattresses, who test CPAP machines, linens, all of that sort of thing. But yeah, testing mattresses. You get paid to be a sleeper. And if you just like to read a good book and then go to sleep, and you wake up and get paid for it, professional sleeper. When I said unique, I wasn't kidding. All right, I'm just going to rapid fire some really, really unique roles here. Odor judge, pet food taster, professional mermaid. Oh, professional mermaid. Dog surfing instructor, Lego sculptor, large-scale aquarium tank cleaner, professional Netflix watcher. People get paid to just sit and stream. Virtual reality designer, we've touched on that one. Decorative goose fashion designer. Did you know this is a whole world of these like porch geese, and people buy them and decorate them? It's like taking the lawn flamingo to a whole nother level. But there's entire worlds about the fashion just for these things. Professional clown. We all had one of those at a birthday party at some point, right? Professional bridesmaid. This will forever be one of my most favorite things, is a person who is actually paid to make sure everything is running smoothly and has everything and can, get your drunk uncle back to his hotel room and you don't have to deal with it. Sticker designer. People get paid to design stickers. People love stickers. Vintage toy restorer. I mean, that is someone's job. Even just the folks like on YouTube who just restore things that they find, which is incredibly cool, and they make their money by creating the video for you. But there are people who have vintage and antique toys who want them, and need them repaired, them in, working condition, and that is a job. Though it's a specialist position, is people bring you their, rusting tin toys or their grandpa's train set, and your job is to restore it. And how much joy could you bring, by restoring these fun pieces of history, right? All right, couple more. Escape room designer. We've talked about spaces and spatial designers. There are people who get paid to just design escape rooms. My worst nightmare, but there's someone out there who loves that whole concept and would, be very excited to design one of these rooms, much less be in one of them. Lego Master Builder. Touched on this real quick before, but people do get paid to design and construct massive Lego, floral, and gingerbread, depending on the season, replicas of architectural things. So, big famous historic hotels will have someone come in and for spring do, kind of a model of their hotel in flowers, or for Christmas, holidays, right, have them make it out of gingerbread or Legos. Pick a medium that you like. Professional ice sculpture, same thing. If you become really proficient in that medium, you absolutely can be very, very well paid and known as that specialist. Food stylist, for TVs, for cookbooks, for magazines, for YouTubers, for, celebrity, famous, on the internet type chefs. But it is a big world these days, the professional food stylist, especially in advertising as well. None of the images you see are sort of accidental, right? Drone cinematographer. People hire you to take amazing footage of whatever it is they need footage of. Real estate is big on this one. Film and TV, getting really into the drone footage, but it's a skill to operate one of those drones and make the footage look good. So it's not just, running the drone, but actually being able to film cinematically. Augmented reality artist, this falls somewhere around the virtual reality, creating innovative digital experiences. So you do need to like the tech side on top of the design side. And then there's the creative careers that you don't think about, but that you engage with every single day. Things like pattern designers, like the wallpaper that I'm looking at behind this camera, that was textile design, wallpaper design, floor tile design, all of that. Someone is designing that. It doesn't just happen. You can take that bigger and go into interior design, but I'm sure most of you have thought about that one. If you're talking about truly, truly unique, you need to kind of look around your world and let yourself sort of think not bigger, but weirder. The things that you would say, oh, there's no way someone gets paid to fill in the blank. And I guarantee you, someone gets paid to do whatever you can come up with. And if they're not getting paid to do it yet, but you think it's interesting, someone will pay you to do it. I am constantly surprised by my clients who feel that they don't have options. And then we start talking about, truly creative, weird and wacky things that exist out there. And they then get overwhelmed with the choices. And you'd be surprised about the things that you're just genuinely not thinking of. Kind of my two favorite examples. One is the professional bridesmaid. She realized there was this lack for, someone who was going to stay sober and actually take care of kind of all of the little details that you're not thinking of and not able to, that wasn't going to fall onto you or to another family member. And she filled that niche, and it's become an entire industry. And then there's things like, and I read an article about this a couple years ago, and it still fascinates me. There's basically 2 people in all of the US that clean IMAX screens. It's like a father-son company, and they go around and they clean IMAX screens, and because they're the only 2 that do it, they make a lot of money. And I hadn't thought about who's cleaning those. It doesn't occur to me that IMAX screens need to be cleaned. Now, is that the most creative job? Maybe not, but maybe for them it is. That maybe they have special processes that they've created, and The way that they market themselves is creative, or maybe the way they do the job is creative. But is it truly unique? Yeah, absolutely. And I think that's what's important here, is to remember that creativity doesn't always have to mean like doing an embroidery kit, right? It can absolutely look like creating really cool, fun, interesting to you ways to do business, ways to do a job. I think people get stuck in this idea that to have a creative job, they have to be creating art of a, professional scale. But think about the person who does face painting, professionally at like county fairs and that sort of thing. They're being really creative, and I'm sure having a really good time. When I was a professor, one of my students was a professional balloon animal maker. It was just one of those things they started, kind of part. They worked at a restaurant that required them to learn how to do it. They made so much money, and they turned out that they loved this aspect of the job, and they became a full-time balloon animal artist, right? They made a lot of things other than animals, but that was such a creative role, and they ended up finishing college because they were already, pretty far down the process. But even after they had their college degree, which they didn't need to go make balloon animals, they had this creative career and they had the education to back it up, but they had found this thing, this surprisingly kind of weird and wonderful creative thing that they had never planned on. It's not like they went to school to learn how to do this. They found it somewhat organically. And I think there is something to sort of looking around you and seeing what you're already doing that you're interested in or that is fun. Or looking around again and saying, wouldn't it be cool if someone got paid to, and fill in that blank and see what you can create, see what types of things you can invent. Think about what types of things you would just think would be crazy if someone paid you to do. And can you imagine if you told someone, I don't know, not even all that long ago, that you could get paid for doing little 30-second dances on an app? You probably wouldn't have believed them, right? So you'd be really surprised where you can find a creative outlet that can actually afford you the income and lifestyle that you want. So thanks for sitting with me as I got a bit of work done on the project. I appreciate it. I hope you learned some weird, wonderful, creative jobs that exist out there, and it's got your juices flowing. Again, if you want any help with any of this, or you've got questions, or you've got a creative career that you think no one's thinking about, do put it in the comments. Would love to hear about it. So thanks for being here with me. Thanks for sitting with me. Thanks for learning about the creative, fun careers that exist out in the world. I will see you next time. Bye. Instead of him doing the cuddling, though, you pay him and you go cuddle his cows.